Hello, everyone. We are now starting the third episode of the podcaster, and we are here today with Yuki and Jack from Checkin. First of all, thank you so much, guys, for joining. I really appreciate your time. And I would love to start with a quick intro of yourselves.
Yeah, so maybe I can go first. So, yes, thank you for having us. So, I'm Yuki from Checkin, CEO and co-founder of Checkin. So, previously, before Checkin, we were having a Beyond Club, which is like NFT loyalty platform for helping mainly Japanese enterprise or creators to launch like NFT loyalty programs to increase or create a new experience or engagement between their customers and their brands. So that's what we were doing. And then I think this March, so 5 months ago, we started Check-in, which is more like a location-based social app on top of Farcaster. So that's what we're focusing on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for having us. I'm Jack Alpha on Farcaster. Yeah, like my background has is very recent to Web3. I kind of entered Web3 through Bankless DAO. That's actually where I met Yuki, where we worked on Bankless Japan together. I've always been a I've always been a user of Foursquare and Swarm, especially like when it came out in early days. And I really loved it, and it was really a really fun experience. But after a while, it kind of just got stale. And so when I was working with Yuki on the Beyond Club, like Japanese enterprise NFT loyalty programs, when we started exploring the check-in space, I was really excited because it kind of reminded me of like the old like Foursquare days, except only better. Not just because of blockchain, but I think because of the sort of like the longer term vision we have for the check-in product, which I'm sure we'll go into more details after. Yeah.
Awesome. So I wonder if you can explain like what's the problem that you're trying to solve with Checkin.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the biggest challenges or problems that we're trying to solve with check-in is that like in our digital lives, a lot of the things that we do, like interactions or activities, are very fragmented in like many different silos. So, for example, like I might be posting like pictures of my travel like on Instagram. But I also might be like leaving reviews like on Google local guides, where like I'm level 7 local guide. Or I might be going to forums like TripAdvisor and like or Reddit and sharing travel advice, or even taking part in like subtle Asian travel, like this like few hundred thousand strong like Facebook community to share itineraries and things like that. The challenge with that is that like they all live in different silos and they're not interconnected, right? So you don't get a more holistic picture of like who I am as an individual. Yet, like every day, there's about like 2 billion posts that are like location based, like social media pieces of information that are being posted, and there's a huge, massive untapped opportunity to actually connect all this, especially when you consider the fact that there's a growing, even just like focusing on location based games, there's a $2 billion market, where Japan is like accounting for about half of that amount. And when you think about even larger markets like global loyalty programs, there's a $150 billion market there. So the challenge is like how do you connect everything in a more seamless and interoperable way? And I think like from a Web3 context, this is especially more meaningful because if you think about the information that we have that's on chain, there's a lot of information around financial transactions or NFT holdings and things like that. But it doesn't give you like a more holistic and fulsome picture of like who I am as an individual. So if you tie it back to the first thing I mentioned, like there's a massive untapped opportunity to get a more holistic picture of who I am as a person for more personalization and better targeting and engagement of both crypto and non-crypto users. Yeah.
I see. And I wonder, like, how will Checkin can try to solve that issue specifically? Like,
But yeah, so maybe I can go this one. So yeah, to solve that, actually, we want to build like composable identity about their real life activities. So actually, check-in is like a first piece, or could be say like a Trojan house for making this real life identity on chain. So basically, with a check-in is pretty simple. Like as Ed mentioned, it's kind of like a Foursquare type of experience. So you can explore the places and then post your check-in, and then this post is on Farcaster social graph. So it's not only appears on our check-in client, but also it appears on the like Webcast and other Farcaster client apps. So, and then this post is like obviously connected to your wallet address, and then this is on like a Farcaster hub, so that we could start to have a kind of meaningful taste of this user or of this wallet by having this real life activities. Like, for example, if you're going to this kind of cafe a lot, or if you're going to this kind of DJ parties, we could start to have more taste about the, identity, not only just having the financial transaction. So that's the kind of the start we're trying to solve with a check-in as like a fun way to build the real life identity.
And I wonder, like, once you build this identity on chain, and you can show like which cafes you attended, or like which restaurants you like, or which parties you go to, what sort of like use cases do you think that will enable?
Yeah, I think there could be a lot of use cases. So maybe one thing is definitely about loyalty program or like acquisition for the, foot traffic. So actually, yeah, one of the things we're starting soon is to have a kind of loyalty program or leaderboard campaign together with crypto co-working space in Tokyo, Shibuya. So what we are doing is like for people who check into uh, that co-working space a lot, they will get like a perks from co-working space, like a 1 month free or something like that. So we can target like a people around Tokyo to come to this co-working space more. And then obviously, yeah, for now, people who is using Checkin is more on crypto people, so they are kind of aligned with their targets. So we could have how to help them to acquire new users and also retain them to come again, and then check in again. So obviously not only for co-working space, but also with like cafe, restaurant, or even like an event with like a concert by artists. We could use those kind of check-in and then real life identity for having, getting more foot traffic and also having more increase in loyalty by having, continuous foot traffic too. Yeah.
So like you sort of like imagine this as I attended a restaurant a bunch of times, so now the next time that I'll go there, the restaurant will know that I'm like a frequent a frequent diner there, and they will offer me something, basically, like, I don't know, a free plate or something.
Yeah,
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 yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I, I
very
I
cool.
think I think that's like the most obvious like sort of like next step. And it makes sense because like we're kind of used to that kind of behavior. But I think one of the things that like Yuki mentioned is like we also want to become like this open and composable layer for IRL activities and bridging to on-chain. So what that means is like, yeah, like if I do go to this like restaurant often, like we envision a future where like others can actually take that attestation. For example, like if I go to like this, let's say a sushi restaurant like 5 times, I might get like a sushi lover's badge, right? Like, and the badge might be on chain. And so like we imagine a future where someone could, be able to build like, let's say a few things, like maybe an interoperable loyalty program for sushi lovers. And they can take like a sort of like a new business model because like they're taking it from like a like no pun intended, multi-chain sushi chain approach and not just like from a single restaurant. But they could also like, if they were like, hey, I want to create like an NFT community of like, sushi lovers, like, they can kind of like take that info and know like who is it that's applicable for it. Or they can build like things like, dating apps or something for sushi lovers. So there's like
Right.
a like,
Super cool. And I also guess that like we've seen like a bunch of protocols in crypto to try to build on reputation. And I feel like this would really solve that issue, because like if I can show my friends that I go, I don't know, twice per month to a specific restaurant, I'm basically stating that I really love it. Like if I'm a frequent customer of a certain place, it really says something. And
Mhm.
I guess like it sort of like enables like this like word of mouth marketing without me actually having to say anything or without them actually asking me anything because they are simply saying what I'm doing. Like I'm voting with my feet. Like I'm just like going to
Yes.
those places. Like I'm stating as strong as I can that I love the place.
Yeah. I think the saying is like, you vote with your wallet and your feet, right? And so like if we can encourage people to go and explore or go back to the same places with well both their feet and wallet, then like you said, that's probably the strongest signal that you're interested in something. Yeah.
Well, I wonder like what sort of features do you think checking will have that Foursquare would never be able to have?
Yes, so I think there are maybe three stuff we have a kind of a difference from the Foursquare itself. Ed might have something to add, but yeah, I have three things in my mind. First thing is obviously for the user side, they could have a more financial incentive. Obviously, in Foursquare, they didn't have any financial incentive to check in more. But in check-in, we are planning to, incentivize users by, bringing those revenue from loyalty program as like a token incentive. So that's one strong difference compared to the Foursquare. And the second part is I think, yeah, composability. So, as Ed mentioned already, but other people's can build on top of our real life identities. So it's not only just we build the experience, but also the other guys can also build the experience on top of it. So that will create more, how to go this, more expansion of the ecosystem, not only just close to the Foursquare, not only close inside Checkin, we could have more builders and then more business can build on top of Checkin as like a primitive or infra, and then they could have more real life engagement. So I think that's the second big difference. And then that could also create a revenue, and then which will create an incentive for users. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, I think, very close to the second reason, but by having others to build on top of it, we could provide more unique, experience continuously to the users. So Foursquare had a great gamification, especially considering like it started around two very early, you know, Web2 era. So, but they couldn't provide more new experiences continuously, so it became harder for them to retain, like especially like Instagram counts, TikTok counts. But in check-in, check-in could be like an influx or could be identities. So we could enable others to build more mini games on top of it. So actually, yeah, we already have a few mini games planned ahead together with some collaboration with the other Web3 community, crypto communities. But yeah, we can build those kind of mini games together with, communities so that, they can provide more, interesting experiences regularly, especially, for people who have a kind of, obviously we have a kind of short time of attention, but by having those mini games like continuously, we could overcome those short time of attention. We can attract users and retain users with like a kind of new experience. Core is the same, but the new experience of the games. So yeah.
Very cool.
Just like one extremely minor thing to add, like because I like Yuki covered it really well. Is that like the mini games or the new experiences built on top of check-in? I think the great thing is that like it's very interoperable because it's still based on like the core check-in experience and the attestations or like the information about you is portable from like one game to another, right? Because like when we talk about like NFT gaming or sorry Web3 gaming, one of the major benefits or one of the major selling points is that like your assets, like you own your assets and it's very portable. But in this case, like it's portable in a very short distance, right? Because like it's all still within the sort of like core check-in experience from one game to another. So if you build up your reputation through like the core check-in experience to say like, hey, I really love sushi because I've checked into like 100 different restaurants, that carries over to like all the different games that might be applicable to you.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Um, cool. So I wonder, guys, because I know that you started as a bot at first, then you became sort of like a read-only client, and now you're sort of expanding into a read-write client. I wonder how that journey has been, and why did you decide to follow this path?
Yes. So actually, we started to build check-in at the East Global Hackathon. It's called like a flame hack or flamework. So it was around the end of March, and then we tried to build. We already had a concept of build check-in, but that was the first time we started to build. And then to make it, you know, like a super small MVP, we started with a bottom frame. So basically, you can mention at checking. I mean, in Webcast, you can mention at checking and then copy and paste the Google Map link. You can check in, and then our bot will reply that you checked in and earn like 10 points or something like that. Basically, that was a kind of simple implementation at first. And then in that reply, we had a flames that we will show like where you checked in, and then you can bookmark the places or something like that. So we started as a super minimum approach with using, I mean, inside the Webcast. Basically, that's how we started. And then after that, to show like the digital, like a live log of like where you've checked in or like your bookmark, we build like a read-only client where you can see the other people's check-in or like your previous check-in as well as like a logs. That's the second step. And then now check-in is already like a read and write clients where you can also post check-in from our clients. And then basically in Webcast, our limitation, I mean, it was pretty good approach to start with a very small MVP, and then we could, yeah, thanks to like we became like a finalist of this global hackathon. So that's also the reason we could have captured a good attention of it, even for the first build. But the one limitation of Webcast was we couldn't fetch like a location of the user, like a GPS basically. So we couldn't verify if you're really there. I mean, you can check in like now I'm in Tokyo, but I can check in you know I don't know, Paris, for example, Olympics place or something like that. But by making our client read and write, so when you check in from our client, we verify with GPS first, and then you can check in, and then basically you can earn points more if you're at the place. So by doing that, we could have more verifiable checked in or location data, which could be more important for the real life identity. So that's the kind of journey we had for building this check-in on Farcaster.
So I wonder, guys, what sort of like alpha can you share about the future of Checkin? What sort of stuff are you building? Where are you spending your time yeah, in the last few weeks?
Yeah, so like because a lot of our team is based in Tokyo in Japan, like we've been working hard on this Road to Tokyo check-in campaign, where we're working with POAP, we're working with DAO Tokyo, ETH Tokyo, and Tokyo DAO to sort of like prep the event attendees to get them ready to go to Tokyo. So beforehand, like what we did was we launched maps, so map.checkin.gg, where we have Tokyo natives and locals curate and create and mint maps of like local recommendations, hidden gems, so that when people visit Tokyo, they know exactly where to go. They don't get lost. You can find the best matcha cafes in Tokyo, or you can find the best vegetarian restaurants, because I know that's actually very hard to find in Tokyo. So there's maps, and then for when people actually do attend the actual conference, we've partnered with POAP to do a Tokyo POAP rally, where we've helped curate a set of 10 locations. There are shrines scattered across Tokyo. Where in a very fun and like treasure hunt way, users can go to different shrines, they can check in, and when they do, they can earn special POAPs, and then at the end, there's going to be special prizes. So I know that you could probably do it async, but we're also organizing like a synchronous like walking tour to do the same thing. So if you're looking for a more social and like in-person IRL experience for that, We're doing a check-in tour on Friday, August 23rd, where Yuki and I and whoever is interested, we're going to visit some of those locations together. And I'm going to brush up on my history, but I can share some like history points about the different places that we visit. So it's more like a guided walking tour. And then one of the things that we're really excited about is for Token 2049. We're partnering with a large community that has been known to build like really interesting gamified experiences in creating a mini game for Token 2049 attendees. That's still at the core of it is related to check-ins, but a sort of like a fun game mechanic that we might be used to, but with a different twist. And we're really excited about that because if you grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, it's probably something that you're probably familiar with. So yeah, I guess that's the alpha that I can share. Yeah.
Again. So thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to join the podcast. I really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure to host you. I encourage everyone to try out Checkin and to provide feedback. And yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.